Each and every one of us is filled with doubt at certain times in our lives. For me, I vividly remember a point in November of 2012 at the Ultraman Triathlon World Championships. I had been running for nearly 4 hours on the Queen K Highway, which is in the Big Island of Hawaii, through the lava fields when my left knee suddenly gave out. Searing pain was shooting up and down my left side, and I could barely put any weight on it. Now, I've been doing this long enough to know when something is wrong and when something is very wrong, and something was definitely very wrong. I sat there on the side of the road, the asphalt nearly burning me because the temperature hovers somewhere around 85 degrees. I was holding my knee, cursing, angry that this happened because I made it through all of my training with no problems whatsoever. I still had over 1 marathon to go, and I was hurting so badly I had no idea how I'd be able to make this happen. I was even afraid that if I continued, I might be causing some permanent damage to my body. But I wasn't ready to throw in the towel. So I didn't want to wake up that next day with the feeling of regret, knowing that I quit or that I gave up. So I just resolved to saying that it was going to be a long day, and I stood up and I started walking. Started walking, trying to put the pain out of my mind, and before I knew it, from that pain from that walking came jogging, and from that jogging came running. I was actually able to run the remaining 27 miles without stopping once. Crossing the finish line, my leg hurt so badly, and it immediately gave out, and if it wasn't for my support crew at the time, I would have for sure collapsed to the ground. Definitely not my finest moment, but I finished the double marathon run 10 minutes faster than the previous year and completed the Ultraman Triathlon for the 4th time in 3 years. So three and a half years ago, I decided to take on this challenge, which seemed pretty impossible to me, compete in a triathlon that's 320 total miles. It's definitely a big undertaking, and it's a race that you have to apply to be accepted into. So when I was first granted entry in 2010, I had no idea how I would be able to finish this thing, let alone prepare for it. And 10 years ago, if you told me that this is something that I'd be taking on, I would have said that you're crazy. Because I was always that guy that walked around saying, running for fun, that's ridiculous. You'll never catch me doing that. So let alone swimming and running before biking. But in 2010, I did 2 of these events, one in British Columbia, one on the Big Island of Hawaii, which is the World Championships. And completing both of them within the same calendar year made me the 17th person ever to have done so. I went back to Hawaii in 2011 and 2012 because I had this feeling that I could finish the distances faster. Let me tell you a little bit about this event. It's 320 total miles, which is about equivalent to the distance from here to Washington, D.C. Because of the logistics involved, only 40 people are allowed to participate in it. So again, you have to apply and then be accepted, and it's 40 crazy people. It's completely unsupported, which means that you are responsible for your own gear and food and all the planning. And you have to have a support team that accompanies you throughout the race the entire time. The swimming leg is 6.2 miles, which is like swimming across Cayuga Lake 4 times or swimming from here to Lansing, New York. And I have to tell you, it's a pretty daunting swim in the Pacific Ocean. There are sharks, there are deadly box jellyfish, there are whales, there is the feeling of vertigo because you can see all the way to the bottom of the ocean, and then the currents just never seem to be going in the same direction that you are swimming. The biking is 260 cumulative miles, so that would be like me hopping on my bike right now and pedaling all the way to Hartford, Connecticut. It's a far way to go. To make things worse, within that distance, you have 15,000 feet of elevation that you have to deal with, including a grueling 30-mile climb uphill that goes from sea level to the top of Volcanoes National Park. And with the various microclimates on the Big Island of Hawaii, the weather can go from a humid 90 degrees to 50 degrees and pouring rain to 60-mile-an-hour winds, all within just a few miles. So the conditions that Mother Nature gives you really can crush your soul. Right. The running is 52.4 miles, so that's the length of 2 marathons back-to-back without a break or without stopping. And on the Queen K Highway, it's usually, the temperatures are usually in the 80s. The humidity is very, very high. You're running at sea level. There's absolutely no escape from the sun. And so to stay cool and to keep from overheating, you're constantly drinking ice water, putting on sunscreen, and pouring ice and water over your head to stay cool. However difficult you imagine these distances to be, I would like to tell you that they are 10 times harder. Right. So the quickest it's taken me to cover this distance is 28 hours, 7 minutes, and 12 seconds. I see a couple of my students out there, so imagine sitting through one of my classes 22.5 times straight. You might actually say that that would be harder than doing the Ultraman. The distances are pretty demanding and your body takes a beating. These are some of the things that I've suffered from at one point or another, either during training or actually during the race. And after telling people about this and what the Ultraman involves, these are some of the things that I've been called. Crazy, nonsense, it's not smart, why are you doing this? All right. So, and that's actually the biggest question that I get asked. Why would you ever want to subject yourself to this? And you know, they often ask, is there a big prize if you win? Do you win a lot of money? And you know, the person that finishes first and the person that finishes last get the same amount of recognition. So people take this on for other reasons. Maybe it's because they're trying to work out some inner demons, or maybe because it's a challenge that's just there. For me, I like the challenge of the unknown, and I want to see what I'm capable of when I have to make some pretty difficult decisions. I also wanted to try and take something on that not a lot of other people were doing. So through the course of my training and doing this event 4 times, I've learned some good lessons that I think can be applied to other areas of life, like business or personal relationships. The first one is you have to go beyond your limits. You know, most people live with these self-imposed rules and limitations, and I hear people say, I can't do something because it's too overwhelming, or I can't do something because it's too hard, or I can't do something because I just don't know how. I've been involved in many work and research-related projects where there's always been some aspect that I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to do it, and I never let that scare me. Now, keep in mind that I didn't wake up one day, decide to do the Ultraman, and then go out and do it the next day. There was a lot of small steps and learning involved. So I remember signing up for my first marathon thinking, wow, I can't believe I committed to this. I can't believe I'm doing this. But finishing that was pretty empowering, and that led me to trying a short triathlon, which led to trying an Ironman triathlon, but I just wasn't satisfied with the limitation, and I was looking for the next challenge. Things will go wrong. Keep moving forward. I think most people, it's pretty common when they're faced with adversity or rough patches, they will give up. Yes, you will be rejected, you will be kicked when you're down, you will struggle, you will even fail. But the truly successful people in the world keep going no matter what. If you talk to any businessman, he'll probably tell you 3 stories of failure before he tells you one story of success. And when it came to the Ultraman for me, I told my crew that I was going to keep going no matter what. I would have to literally be dying to be pulled out of the race and pulled off the race course. Being consistent creates good habits. For me to take on something like the Ultraman meant having to alter my lifestyle, right? And I think incorporating the training for this or incorporating anything of significance into your life, right, is going to require you to make it a habit. The only way to make something a habit is to do it consistently. Unfortunately for me, this meant waking up every day 2 hours normally, earlier than I normally would, going out for a swim or a run, lots of times in the dark and in the snow before most people were out of bed. But I was willing to do that because I wanted this pretty badly. Sometimes you have to do things you don't like doing. If anybody out there knows me, they will tell you that I hate swimming. I absolutely hate it with a passion. I hate every single second that I have to spend in that pool. So why would I do something that I absolutely hate? I consider it part of the path to achieve the end goal. And I definitely believe in the saying, you know, it's all about the journey and not the destination. But this is the part of the destination that I just absolutely hate. And three years earlier, I could barely swim one lap in the pool. It was quite a struggle. But I sucked it up. I took swimming lessons. I did whatever I needed to do, spending countless hours in the pool, going back and forth, just to become a decent swimmer and be able to cover this distance. Reaching your goals takes a lot of work and planning. As cliche as it sounds, there are absolutely no shortcuts in life. The man at the top of the mountain did not fall there. If you want something, you have to go out and put in the work, period. So, you know, Ultraman, I think, is something that takes months and months of training, months and months of planning. And again, I was willing to do that and put in the hours and figure out the logistics because I knew that crossing that finish line was going to be very, very gratifying, and I did not want to fail. Everything in life is mental. The Ultraman is an event that is just as much mental as it is physical. Doubt and questioning constantly creep into your head while you're out there. Why am I doing this? This is, you know, stupid. This is ridiculous. I'm never doing this again. It's a lot of time to be out there with your own thoughts because so much can go wrong, from physical sickness to equipment failure like flat tires or broken bike cables. And when something goes wrong, though, it's not about what happened or why it happened. It's all about how you react to that situation at that moment in time. People find ways to do what they want to do. I usually find that if somebody wants to do something badly enough, they will find a way to fit it in, right? So, you know, again, Ultraman was a pretty big commitment, and that meant reprioritizing everything so that I could fit it in. And if it's important to you, you will figure out a way to do that. If not, you'll just keep making excuses. For me, Ultraman was taking up 10 to 20 hours a week, which is pretty much like having a part-time job that I wasn't getting paid for. Surround yourself with people who will help you get there. There are a lot of haters. There are people that will say you can't do this and you can't do that, and they'll question your motives and make you doubt yourself. Get away from the negativity and surround yourself with people who will help support you and have your best interests in mind. For me to do the Ultraman, it required the selflessness of other people to support me getting to that finish line. It blows my mind that these people, my support crew, were willing to spend 3 days with me waiting on me hand and foot. Now, these two people, I didn't even know before going out there to do the race. They were local people that volunteered to help me achieve my goal and get to the finish line. I was just a stranger to them. They didn't know much about me. And it's a tough job. As the famous ultra runner Marshall Ulrich said, crewing, it's not for the squeamish, it's not for the faint of heart, it's not for the self-centered. It's a tough job, it's detail obsessed, it is a grind, and sometimes it cannot be, it's not fun. And it takes a really special person who either has an investment in the athlete or the accomplishment to be able to be an effective member of the crew. The Ultraman, the philosophy of the race is founded upon 3 things: aloha, kokua, and ohana, which are Hawaiian for love, support, and family. And these people really embody what it means to be part of the Ultraman family. If you can see yourself doing something, you can do it, right? I find that being able to visualize is more than half the battle to help you get there. And I visualized the start line and getting into the water. I visualized the finish line, and I imagined all the checkpoints along the way, the problems I might have and the emotions that I might go through, so that when they happened to me, I could be ready. Now, when I crossed that finish line, it was one of the best days of my life. It was the hardest thing that I had ever done. And when you take on something like the Ultraman, you're bound to have doubts constantly, and you're going to question yourself. And something like this, it happens many, many times. But every time it happens to me, I always wonder about myself, what kind of decision am I going to make? And you know, that story that I told you at the beginning was just one of the many difficulties that I had to go through. When I was sitting there on the ground, holding my knee, I made the decision to stand up and keep going forward. That's usually the choice that I make, and I think it's decisions like this are really what define us. I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular guy. I have no physical talents or gifts. I committed to a challenge and put myself out there that was so much bigger than myself, and I went out there and made it happen by being really focused, determined, passionate, and just pushing myself to never quit. Now, you don't have to go out and do the Ultraman. 99.9% of the people in the world will not take on something like the Ultraman. But there are other ways that you can challenge yourself and try new things. Maybe it's starting that business you've always wanted to start. Maybe it's learning a new language and traveling to a foreign country. Maybe it is running your first 5K, joining a club on campus you never realized existed before, or volunteering. Whatever it is, be passionate and show your commitment, right? Look forward to the obstacles and don't take any shortcuts. I promise you, you will learn so much and discover so much more about yourself than you knew in those moments that truly make you uncomfortable. Thank you.